supply. With RWAs, there is already a need for it, right? So we're not actually a solution looking to solve a problem. There is a problem with commodity traceability, with certifications, with all these different things, warehouse receipts. Our technology is solving these issues. And in fact, our commodities advisor, Lamont Ratan, he's been talking about these issues for 20 years. I really think that we're in a really good place. We're in a great place as an industry. We have the technology, we have the momentum right now, and I really think that this is going to actually help the entire industry iterate to the next leg up.
I have Dan joining me on this episode to talk through the Palm economy and a couple of things that have been happening in the Palmyra ecosystem at the moment. The whole idea of tokenizing real-world assets and using commodities such as tea, I think, is a brilliant idea. There's so much advantages here for using blockchain technology. And Daniel, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Peter. Great to be back.
Now, you guys have been busy. I know you have been. You've been in the States. You've been all over the place. You've been at the World Tea Conference. I didn't even know there was a World Tea Conference. Can you fill us in with what you guys have been up to?
Oh, my God. Where do I start? Well, okay, so I'll start with the trip that I just had. Right. So I just spent two weeks in the U.S., which started off, I mean, of course, I had other business that I had to attend to over there, Palmyra related, but the main attraction for the trip was the World Tea Expo, and which is the biggest tea conference in the world. And again, before I got into commodity trading and building Palmyra, I mean, of course, I had no idea that was the biggest tea conference. I mean, I like tea as much as the next guy. I like tea. I grew up in a tea culture. Eastern Europe was a tea culture. But I never actually dug into it until we started actually working in the sector. And it's pretty intense. It's actually bigger than it was last year. And I mean, it's just crazy. Well, first of all, there are these like tea, I don't want to call it like tea degens, I guess you want to call them.
I think connoisseurs is probably a good term for them.
Well, whatever. Tea connoisseurs in Web3, we'd call them tea degens. They just love just peruse different types of teas, because some people have, their favorite, whatever it is. You got, like your herbals, you like your Earl Grey. Like I was always an Earl Grey guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly due to Jean-Luc Picard, but that's a different story. Yeah. And so there's an amazing amount of people there that just love tea and they're there to really sample these different teas. And so I myself, last year, I didn't have a chance to do that because we were really, really busy. Well, just like this year, but last year was the first year that we were there. So, we had to we're still kind of trying to figure out our model of how we're doing things, what we're doing, how long we're doing it for, and so on and so forth. The mission was different last year. Last year were the new kids on the block, so we were just kind of showing the platform to the industry, trying to say, "Hey, check this out!" Not but check this thing out again and see the progress, which is a bit of a different conversation. There you already have an established credit with the group, so it was actually it was a lot more fun to do that. And so actually I got a chance to sample some of the different teas there, and it's amazing. I mean, they got they got so much different tea out there, and it's not, you just don't realize how robust the entire tea market is. There's so much. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. Everything from the Ceylon and Sri Lankan teas to your Japanese and Asian teas, Japanese, Chinese teas. You got Eastern European teas as well. You got all these different things, and so it's very cool because also the great thing about being in that place is pretty much everybody there, well, with very few exceptions, can be a user of Palmyra. whether they're a buyer or a producer, they can utilize Palmyra. Now with buyers, it's a little bit so it's B2B, right? So say like Peter wants to go buy some tea on Palmyra, you're gonna have to go through somebody who already bought tea on Palmyra. But Peter's tea house can go and buy tea on Palmyra, right? So that's the only limitation there is. And so yeah, we got to really we onboarded actually I think over 20 new buyers onto the platform, several new producers. One of them is actually a Japanese tea producer, and then it's kind of ironic that living in Japan, we still haven't put any Japanese tea on the platform. But yeah, this one is really good. It's from Shizuoka, and they've been this is a family business, has been doing it for a long time. So yeah, all in all, great conference, and most important, a lot of new leads and a lot of new traffic for the platform. It wasn't just us showing this time, like check it out. It was us actively talking to people, signing them onto the platform, talking business to them, giving them discounts for usage, for purchases on site. Yeah, so it was just a really good experience. It was really good.
It's fantastic that you guys managed to onboard a lot of businesses while at the conference. I think that's the biggest thing, biggest outcome that you guys could have had. More users, more business flowing through the website, more users using the platform and take advantage of it. And hopefully we'll see a snowball effect, like other users will find these brand new producers that are on the platform and be able to access these teas more easily in a slightly more liquid market on the commodities decks. So it's a really good outcome for you guys, and hopefully next year when you go again, I'm assuming you go again, you have an even bigger uptake and a bigger stand and everything else around it too.
Yeah. It's going to be, and so next year is going to be different, obviously, like it was this year, because last year it was basically just us showing the platform. This year was actually us showing the platform and the products that are on the platform. So we actually had a stand, a shelf with all the different products, all the different commodities that are available on Palmyra right now. Everything from tea to zombie and honey to spices, and everything was right there. So it was also very nice. It was sort of the same appeal as RWAs have to the Web3 space, right? Just like with any product, you see it online and you actually see it in person, hold it in your hands. That's, that's a bit of a different connection. And so being able to show actual products that are on the platform and to people to check it out, it's like, oh wow, this is really good tea. They smell it, they look at it, they check out the honey, see that this is an unadulterated top shelf honey. The spices, all this stuff is just really, you can touch it, right? And of course, it's tokenized, so these are RWAs, right? So they're literally just
Yeah.
going through there. It was a shelf of RWAs.
How do you guys certify that the tea that you're purchasing is authentic and of high quality? Is there digital versions of this certifications that you may have on the platform? Or how
Right.
can I, as a buyer from Australia, verify that this tea is coming from Sri Lanka from this person?
Right. So this is actually, and it's a great question, and it's actually a question that's asked quite a bit because many people they understand that traceability is important, but they have all these questions about exactly how does the process work, right? Because it's a trustless system which needs to have clean data uh, put into the system for it to work. Okay, and so that makes sense why you would have questions about this. Now, from the tea side, and of course other commodities as well, there are many different moving parts to it to making sure that this is an authentic product. Well, first and foremost is the status of the producer, right? So the producers that are onboarded onto the platform go through KYC. So all the
Yep.
certifications that they have, the factory certifications from the Sri Lankan Tea Board, all of this stuff is actually available for the buyer to check out and to verify. And we're actually putting all of these credentials on chain in the process of introducing them on chain into the Winter Protocol. And in fact, our Fund 11 proposal for for Kenyan tea was actually about that, to kind of I guess perfect on-chain certifications, and this was specifically because of what you're talking about. We need to make sure that this is a perfected process so that we can bring all these things on chain. Now, aside from the actual reputation of the producer, which can be verified through these certifications through the local entities, you also have, again, these local entities, regulatory entities like the Sri Lankan Tea Board, which actually certifies the tea, right? So you can't just kind of like, oh, here's tea, go buy it, just like throw it
Yeah.
into the air and have people catch
Yeah.
it. It's actually, you can't do that over in Sri Lanka. I mean, really, the only sector that does not have to rigorously go through the tea board for everything. And actually, no, they do. I was going to say this, the artisan tea market, but they actually do have to go through the tea board. They don't have to go through the auction. So that's the difference. So again, when you go through all these different regulatory agencies, their certifications, quality assurance, there's also going to be added quality assurance done with Joyce Mayna's system that we're introducing onto the platform for QA of tea. That's also going to certify quality. And of course, when the tea goes through its process, basically from crop to export, well, to your door, all of this is tracked using what we call Palmyra Pro, which is an app that is given to the producers that are participating in the Palmyra and in the Palm economy, and well, not in the Palmyra ecosystem. That utilize this app to bring this data on chain, which later on is going to be connected to the Oracle network that will verify the on-off chain data before it actually gets put onto the onto the ledger.
Okay,
So yeah,
lots of
a
moving
lot of
parts
moving
there.
parts, a lot of
Yeah.
moving parts, but it is a process, and we have all these, like I said, all these different angles that we need to cover, and we are covering through Palmyra and with cooperation with local and international regulatory entities that are there to make sure that the quality is good, the all the different certifications are good, and of course it's always a process, right? There's new validation certification coming out. You always have to kind of be on top of that. You always have to be able to introduce that onto the platform. ESG, all these different things, right? It's not just like a one solution just does everything. It's always evolving. You always have to evolve.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's also different for different commodities as well. You have to work with different regulatory bodies. Their
Absolutely.
processes may be different. So when you start looking at listing other commodities such as like rubber or anything else like that, you're going to have to work out all those processes to get them
Absolutely.
all on the
Yeah.
platform. Okay. Lots of things to work on there. Now, in regards to other things in the ecosystem around Palmyra, you've got the ISPO going on at the moment.
That's
And
right.
I'm not sure when that's ending, but it seems to be going quite well for you guys. Can we have an
Yeah.
update around the ISPO?
Absolutely. So the ISPO is based on the token allocation for the ISPO, not actual time
Gotcha. Okay.
limits. So essentially, it's when the tokens run out that have been allocated for the ISPO in our tokenomics. That's when the ISPO is over. I believe we're something like a quarter through the tokens. And that's, of course, going to pick up because the market is picking up, right? And of course, you got to take into account that it took us about a month and a half or so to actually get that nice stake that we have right now. However, that is that we do have, I believe it's going to be close to 2,000 Palm holders. It's definitely over 1,000. I mean, I can check. Actually, I'll check right now. It's over 1,000 in Palm 1, and it's at least a couple hundred in Palm 2. I'll give you an exact number right now. It is. Yeah, let me see. Okay, so it's 1,052 delegators for Palm One right now. So that means that 1,052 people will be holding Palm once the token goes TGE. And in Palm 2, we got 95 delegators, right? So I kind of fudged the numbers there a little bit, but yeah, it's about 1150, 1200 ish, depending on day of the week. So we're very excited about that. That, like I said, that means that those people plus more are already going to be in the future going to be Palm holders. Aside from everybody else is going to be participating in the IDOs and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the stats myself as well, and you've got a nice, almost just over 29 million ADA staked to Palm One, which is a nice amount to have. It means you're continuously minting those blocks and getting a decent amount of rewards for you guys to
Yeah.
continuously build out the platform as well. So I think that's a really good amount. And I'm pretty sure it looks quite stable. I can't see massive amounts of stake moving out. It's pretty much stable there. So looks like you guys are going to continuously get that for a while until at least more of that distribution is out. So numbers are looking good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm very, very thankful to all the everybody participating in the ISPO. We have a really nice, thriving community on Discord, on Twitter, even on Telegram, actually. So yeah, people are really active. People are really kind of into what we're doing, and I'm really, I mean, it's great to see this because as you know, Peter, the project begins in your head, right? Every single project that you find begins in your head. And so to go from in your head to this nice thriving community is a big deal. For me at least, that's a big deal. For me, it's very fulfilling, to see something like this, to see that others are sharing in this vision, to see that the others are excited about it, and are ready to participate in it and are participating in it. So it's great. And like you said, the amount of stake we had a little bit more before the market actually started to pump. I guess people decided they wanted to do some other things with their ADA, but it's okay. I'm very happy with the amount we have right now, and like I said, there's still quite a bit of time left for the ISPO. So if you are watching this and you are wondering how you can participate in the token launch, you can absolutely stake to either Palm One, which is a 99% pool, or Palm Two, which is a 50% pool. So you can get equal split between ADA and Palm tokens staked.
Yeah, I love the ISPO model as well because you're only giving up your ADA rewards, not the actual ADA itself. So you're not selling off your ADA to purchase another token. You're just giving up the rewards. It's gradual over a period of time, so it doesn't affect your selling balance, and it's fully flexible as well. So it's liquid. You can do whatever you want. You can continuously stake, buy NFTs, not buy NFTs, buy more ADA, sell your ADA, and you're not locked into anything. So it's a really nice process of doing things. Now, I also know that you guys have teamed up with TMinusOne, a launch pad that is launching pretty soon. I think they're launching pretty soon. And
Yeah.
you guys are going through the IDO on their platform. Can we talk about this? This is another way that people can participate and get access to these tokens if they're wishing to buy them through the IDO process.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually a two-part IDO. The first part is going to be open to the Ergo community, because basically these IDOs, as we explained to them and explained to the community before, these are not initial DEX offerings as the traditional meaning of IDO. These are initial distribution offerings. And so what that means
Same
is
letters, not confusing at all.
it's not. It's not. It's simple. It's initial distribution offerings, because
Yeah,
a DEX is another acronym. That doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Why,
true.
why am I using an acronym to describe another acronym? This makes sense. Come on, people. You gotta catch up. You gotta catch up. So these IDOs were actually put into our tokenomics as a thank you to the community for their support. This is a way for the community to get in early. right? So this is on pre-public, pre-private. This is really literally like almost at seed level. They're getting in, and so this is because, well, first of all, we're a project that that kind of always we're very grateful and take pride in just being kind of community supported and driven. Our investors are from the community. Our support, our a lot of the ideas came from the community. So this was a way for us to say thank you to the community by getting them in early, because in a lot of times, the community will get in at the public round, which is basically like the last one before, or maybe the private sale,
Yeah.
which is like right before you go TGE. This is earlier than that, right? And so the IDOs are going to be, first is going to be for Ergo, so it's going to be with RS Erg, utilizing Rosenbridge. And the second IDO is going to be with ADA. So again, both of them are going to be with T-1. And of course, actually, right now we have another very kind of quick and exclusive IDO happening with a platform called VLaunch, which
Oh,
is which is actually it's happening right now. They're doing their I believe whitelisting, actually allow list. That's what they call it, an allow list right now. So this is a really small allocation. Um, Again, same thing. Kind of getting in early. We saw a lot of cross between the Cardano community and then VLaunch. There's and then the Ergo community. There's quite a few people that are into both. Also, I actually dealt with some of the people that run VLaunch previously when I was still working at IOG. So and then they were at that point doing some things in the Cardano ecosystem. So they're familiar with the ecosystem, really good people. They've been helping us a lot with, socials, our media, our engagement. So this platform it was founded by two pretty significant influencers, Crypto and Crypto Mo. Some of you might have heard about them. They have a pretty substantial amount of followers. And so the idea here was also the reason why we did this first is because we wanted to get as much exposure as possible, because they do have a really nice a really nice amount of people that follow them. They got a lot of reach with their media, with their socials. And so we just kind of wanted to give the following IDOs this really like running start as well, because there's already going to be all this media happening, all this buzz happening. So that's why the VLaunch IDO started first. However, the Ergo and the Cardano IDOs are going to follow really, really quickly afterwards. And yeah, and the terms are the same. So you're getting in really, really early, and so really, really nice place to get into this.
okay. I'll make sure I put the links to that in the show notes, so anyone that's interested getting in earlier than the private sales and the public sales, they can look into that as well. I haven't heard of VLaunch before, so I will look into that. I have heard of Crypto Mo and Crypto, so I will look into what those guys are doing. It sounds quite interesting. Now, before anyone gets into any of these sales, they would ask, what are they buying? These Palm tokens, what are they for? What's the utility for them?
Mhm.
Will these producers that we talked about before and buyers have to use it on the platform itself? What's the utility behind the token?
So, one of the key features, and this is a feature that we intentionally put into the platform, into the UX, is the abstraction of Web3. So, actually, when you utilize Palmyra, unless you want to have a Web3 experience, you don't have to touch blockchain. It uses blockchain under the hood, right? So don't get me wrong. Everything is still tokenized. Everything is still tracked and traced using Winter Protocol, using Ergo, using Cardano. However, the average producer out of Sri Lanka might not know about these things. They don't need to know about these things. So they just know that it gives them wider market access, and now they can actually uh, verify that what they have is the real deal, because there's actually quite a bit of counterfeiting going on in the industry, and other places claiming to have these specialty and artisan and just general Ceylon tea that is not Ceylon tea. Other things as well. Zambian honey. Honey is actually one of the most adulterated substances in the world right now, because of all these different additives that are always added into honey. In fact, there was a study done about 10 years ago that said that it's possible that up to 78% of all honey in the U.S. is not real honey.
Wow. What was it? Substitute
It's
sugar
basically
or
just honey
something else?
flavored syrup.
Yeah.
It's just honey flavored syrup. It's syrup. It's just honey flavored, and it's being passed off as honey, but it's not actually pure honey. What we have on the platform is pure Zambian honey. It's wild honey. So so all these things are still available to them, but they are abstracted so that they can utilize the platform for market access and not have to worry about the Web3. They just does stuff for them. The Web3 part is actually, like I said, it's abstracted from the platform, so they don't have to worry about the learning curve, right? They just know they can get wider market access, and they can guarantee that their goods are what they say they are, utilizing the system. So all the transactions on the platform are done in fiat. We're utilizing a payment rail called Mango Pay, which we integrated into the platform, which allows for all major forms of payment, all major credit cards. It allows for really low cost bank transfer and escrow. All these things were not available. They were just not available to Sri Lankan producers in the past. Escrow was very costly. It would take days. In fact, we were into this before our first transaction. Before we integrated Mango Pay, the escrow just took a long time. But now, and it was a challenge getting a payment provider to the remittances into Sri Lanka. That's not very easy to do. We took quite a bit of time. Several of the major ones said no, that they wanted to work with us, but they said we just don't do Sri Lanka, and it's actually the same for many other developing economies. So this was a task, right? So that's the solution, right? So that's the fiat solution. So what happens is the transaction fees are generated in fiat as well on the platform, right? Because the platform is transaction fee based. So you can utilize the platform for free, you just pay a transaction fee, right? Sort of like eBay or whatnot. But what happens is a portion of this transaction fee then gets transferred through capital infusion into the Palm economy. And so essentially what happens is the stakers of the token. So if you're staking Palm, you will get rebates that will come from the capital infusion that we're going to be doing from the transaction fee that's done in fiat on Palmyra, which basically will take a portion of that. We then will transfer it to Palm. We'll buy it on the market, and then distribute these fees as rebates to the stakers.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's essentially what fuels the Palm economy, and this is why it's a unique token model, because essentially the token model pulls fresh capital from fiat and injects it into the ecosystem. So it's not this kind of cut off ball that's always twirling inside. It doesn't get any new any infusions that are programmed in, which this is. It's programmed into the tokenomics.
Yeah, we notice a lot of that in the Cardano ecosystem where we're just recycling the ADA that's in the ecosystem at the
Yeah.
moment. Someone gets paid an ADA, someone spends an ADA, and just goes around in circles. And a little bit of cash out here and there where needed. But this is nice, where it's injecting that fresh fiat from users that don't even know what they're doing in the
Right.
Web3 space. They're just using the platform as normal, and that fiat is coming into the ecosystem. So that's really, really good design model. And I hope other people take that up as well. That's pretty clever to inject more liquidity into the Cardano ecosystem there.
Yeah, this is actually the work of 01x. It's the same firm that designed the tokenomics for World Mobile.
Ah,
In
yes.
fact, World Mobile and us are really good friends, and I actually would like to thank the team and Mickey and everybody else on the team for kind of helping us out in the background and several things, introductions, and just advice. Mickey's a really good
Yep.
guy. He's
Yep.
very, very knowledgeable and very much that type of entrepreneur, right? The kind of guy that can make this, the fusion between Web 2 and Web 3 happen in a successful business model. So it's very nice to be able to kind of converse with him and get advice from him. So I just wanted to kind of extend that. If Mickey, if you're watching, thank you very much for all your help, and World Mobile team, thank you guys, and the community as well. The community has been fantastic. In fact, many from the World Mobile community are our community as well. So again, thank you guys.
I'll cut that bit and I'll send it to you. So yeah, you can send it on personally. Now, this leads me on to my next question, and it's about the revenue model for the business as well. So we've got that the fees that are going through the platform as people use it. So that's one revenue model there, and that's injecting back into the ecosystem with the Palm token. So that's really cool. Are there additional revenue models on the platform that we need to know about, and any other ways that it's being injected into the Palm token as well?
Right. So the capital infusion happens for rebates. Now there are other ways to kind of to participate in the token in the Palm economy. So one of the ways is going to be a decentralized business development treasury, which essentially is sort of like our mini catalyst fund.
Okay.
So the reason for this was again because of the community. The community has been fantastic and really not just kind of saying, go Palmyra and go Palm, uh, just kind of being on the sidelines, but they actually jumped in and they've been giving us leads. They've been offering to help, and in fact, pretty much most of the people working at ZenGate right now came from the community. Like Theodore, for example. I mean, Theo, we were buddies, but he literally came up to me. It's been over a year now, a year and a half ago. He came up to me and he said, "Hey, Dan, I want to be involved in this. I want to work with you on this." And the rest is history. And so, there's several others from the Ergo ecosystem. Shashir and Luca are two lead devs for the Winter Protocol. They came from the Ergo ecosystem. They're actually really active in the Ergo ecosystem, as well as many others. Victor, our head of content, he's fantastic. He does all of our visuals and everything, and he's our basically a creative director. And so he came from the Cardano ecosystem and the Ergo ecosystem. Our design was done by a really big ergonaut, Nicholas. So yeah, just a lot of participation from the community, and so the reason for the business development treasury is to promote and progress that. And so what's going to happen is the business development treasury is going to utilize the grant model, and so these grants are going to be voted upon, and they're going to be distributed to people that are going to be presenting proposals to engage in business for the Palmyra platform in different regions. Say if you are in Australia and you want to do, um, I don't know, what do you guys grow in Australia besides ACDC and Vegemite?
Mostly like a wheat, grains, barley,
Grains. Okay.
sugar.
All right. Let's go with grains. So, but actually, there's actually quite a bit of tokenization with grains. But anyway, grains, right? Australian grains, right? You, Peter, you have an in with the Australian grain industry, right? We don't have Australian grains on the platform, and you say, hey guys, you know what? I can actually make this happen, right? I can onboard Australian grain onto Palmyra. What I need to do is I need to connect with entity ABCD. I need to say travel here and there. I need to talk to this person, that person. They hear the costs. You present it in a proposal. The community votes on it. Bam, right? So just like Catalyst, right? So you just basically but for commodities on the platform. Um, so there is that, right? So there is that piece, which is really, it's a really cool thing that we're really proud of. There's also an incentive structure for oracles. And so what we're going to be doing is, as I said earlier, we're going to be utilizing a network of data validation oracles that will validate on-off chain data. We're actually talking to several different oracle providers right now. The main oracle network that we're looking to utilize is actually a network that was put together by the guys from 01x. And so this Oracle network is very unique because, well, first of all, they can create bespoke oracles, which is needed for this kind of data validation, right? So an oracle that can say validate the existence of tea that's been deposited into a warehouse so that a warehouse receipt can be received by the producer, which can then be utilized for trade financing, or on our platform, decentralized trade financing, which is another thing that actually the participants of the Palm economy can be involved in. That's one type of oracle, right? You have another type of oracle that might do validations for packaging. Another oracle that might do validations for crop data, right? So all these different things require different types of oracles, and this network is designed so that you can have bespoke oracles that can be built. And the only thing really that will filter too many oracles being built is the actual incentives, right? So is it worth it for you to decentralize this particular part and create an oracle, create oracles that are going to be validating this data in a decentralized way, or can you use a centralized oracle, right? Is it okay? Is it going to be, this data integrity going to be the same? And so this particular Oracle network is actually very interesting because aside from the bespoke nature of it, there's also a slashing mechanism. So essentially, if they just validate bad data, no.
You lose your Palm tokens that are locked
Yeah, yeah.
to that validator. Yeah.
So there is big incentive to make sure you do your job right, because not doing your job doesn't mean that you don't get paid. It means that you get slashed. So it's I guess it kind of keeps things more in tune. Right. And so moving on to, well, last but not least, and of course I can talk about this for ages, but I don't think we have the time, is the decentralized financing. So decentralized trade financing, or that we call trade DeFi. And essentially what this is going to be is a way for, uh, traditional institutions that just don't have the de-risking capabilities because of where they are, to be able to present lending opportunities, or I'm sorry, borrowing opportunities for producers at a lower rate, because right now a lot of these producers are paying really high rates for trade financing, which is an intricate part of all commodity production, right? They regularly take out loans. It's not that they take out loans because they don't have the money. It's part of the process, right? You have a crop, you assess the crop, you take out a loan against that crop, you process that crop using the loan, and then the loan is amortized based on market rate at the particular time when the crop is ready for sale, and then that amortization, and then compensated by the broker or whoever you're selling it to, and then you pay back the loan, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, but right now, these producers are borrowing at really high rates at like 30%, right? So, yeah, and sometimes even higher. And so, what we can potentially offer them is a much lower borrowing rate. And again, they're already traditional lenders that are ready to do this, but they don't have the de-risking tools to make this happen, right? Because all of these tools are still utilizing legacy systems. With our system, with the Palmyra, the Winter Protocol and the Palmyra platform, we can actually present them with tools to de-risk because all this data is on chain, all the certificates are on chain, so they can essentially utilize their de-risking protocols to, or they can utilize our technology to satisfy their de-risking protocols. So they'll be able to offer capital for borrowing. Aside from this, we're actually going to be introducing other DeFi platforms. So we're going to be aggregating DeFi platform connectivity and offering these lending opportunities to other DeFi platforms. So, like right now, you're on platform Z, putting your stables and getting whatever else in return. It's basically going to work like platforms like Nexo, right, where you put in stables and you farm yield from them. With this, it's going to be the same thing, but you're going to be lending the stables. You're going to be lending this this capital to producers, and then these are going to be short-term loans. They're going to be paid back to you, and with obviously with interest. And this interest is actually going to be very attractive. I mean, it's not going to be 100x. You're not going to get like 200% yield because that doesn't actually exist in the real world. But you are going to have really, really nice yield compared to what traditional investment will get you. Very low risk, and you can actually de-risk yourself the same way a bank does, to utilizing the same tools as the banks would. So to somebody who's, say to me, for example, if I'm going to be lending to a producer in Sri Lanka to be able to utilize those kinds of tools to make sure that I de-risk myself, that's going to be a big thing. And that's actually going to be a deal breaker if I cannot do that, because I don't know that guy in Sri Lanka, and
Yeah.
that's all about that. But if I can use these tools, then hey, I don't have to know him. That's the whole point.
Well, this sounds like a lot of opportunities and options for users through the Palm economy there, and being able to de-risk themselves by providing loans to these borrowers on the platform, having the Treasury in there, so opportunities, and then the validators as well. So lots of ways that people can participate and be a part of the Palm economy. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I do have some documentation here, so I will link all the docs that were provided, so that if anyone wants to dig in deeper for all those aspects, they can. And now we are running out of time to go through some of these other fine detailed things, such as vesting schedules and investor allocation. But I will put those tokenomic details in the show notes as well. So if people want to dig into those aspects, they can. But last but not least, I just want to end this interview with a final wrap up. What do you think real world assets, the market will be like in a year's time from now? It seems like RWA is the hot topic for 2024. Where do you see it in 2025?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I am very happy that we started thinking about RWAs in 2021.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because yeah, it was I mean, back then it wasn't as big of a deal, but we just kind of felt that it was going to be. And it's really great to really kind of it feels very validating that now that the market is heating up again, people are really kind of, it's like, hey, RWAs, whoa, what's that? Like, hey, that thing we've been telling you about for the past 2 years, that's what that is. So it's not an I told you so. It's a more of a bingo type of thing. Yes, we got it. We got it. We got it right. I think that it is going to be industry changing. Our industry has been looking for this connection, right? This connection to, I guess, to the mass adoption ethos, and we tried it with several different things, and we tried to just straight up cryptocurrencies, right? While they're good tools, there's quite a bit of obstacles there, right? And because you're directly impeding on already existing players, they're gonna they kind of catfight against you. There's regulators that don't know what the hell they're talking about, so you're gonna have to educate them, and just it's an uphill battle, right? It's a multi-decade battle to truly be able to kind of offer this new type of economy, right? A fully new type of economy. I mean, that takes a generation, right? That takes like 20 years, right? To move from. I mean, how long did it take for us to move from traditional payments to digital payments? I mean, yeah, back in the 90s, we had all these things, right? We had credit cards, right? But fast forward 2020, 2024, our ways of payments, well, our ways of paying is a lot different. It's a lot more robust, and it's a lot of it would not be kind of trusted back in those days, right? Like, oh, what do you mean you could pay with your phone? Well, what if somebody steals your phone? But what if
Yeah,
like all this stuff, right? All these questions
it's
would have
come a
come
long
up,
way.
20 years ago. Now it's like, yeah, sure, Google Pay, yeah, sure, Apple Pay, whatever. Just tap the phone. It's like, oh, well, how do you know it's not going to get stolen? It's like, well, how do you know if somebody else tabs the phone? They can't. Well, they can, but somebody can also steal your credit card and your wallet as well. So, and there's actually ways to protect yourself against that. But anyway, going back to the use case, right? So the use case is it's a lot harder climb. With RWAs, there is already a need for it, right? So we're not actually a solution looking to solve a problem. There is a problem, right? There is already a problem with commodity traceability, with certifications, with all these different things, warehouse receipts, and our technology is solving these issues. And in fact, our commodities advisor, Lamont Ratan, um, he's been talking about these issues for 20 years, for more than 20 years. He says, I was thinking about this 20 years ago, just the technology wasn't there. Now it is, right? Now we have the technology to do this. And so I just think it's going to blow up. I really do. I think that tokenizing things, I mean, of course there's going to be a bunch of BS as well. People are going to try to tokenize everything.
Yeah,
Everything is WA. My
yeah.
sweaty socks are WAs. It's like, we're going to go through this cycle of, it's like, okay, this makes sense, this is complete BS, but in the end, this is a much more sustainable market. I think it because it's based on a physical need for this kind of accountability, and it is based on something physical that already has these things. Like, for example, commodities already have a document trail that follows them. It's actually, many commodity brokers will tell you that the actual document trail is just as important as the commodity itself, because
Yep.
it helps validate the commodity. Because there's actually there's occurrences out there where commodities are traded that don't actually exist. There's a contract, and it's a ghost lot, right? So when they actually go to validate the lot of whatever iron ore that you're trading, they find out, oh, wait a second, it doesn't exist. So you've been trading a ghost this whole time. So this is an issue, and we're solving this issue. So I just see this just going up and up and up and up. And I think that our industry is going to really kind of embrace this, because they're going to see that this is a way to sustain, right? This is, for example, our system uses NFTs, and NFTs are going to be utilized more and more and more for tokenization. This is a way to maintain and sustain the value of an NFT, because, as we all know, like 99% of all NFTs that were huge in the last, bull run are worth bupkis now.
Yeah.
And that's because, well, it's all, it's all subjective. I mean, I like that monkey picture. Do you like it? It's like, no, I think it's, why am I paying $1,000 for a monkey picture? Here it's like, well, okay, but this commodity already has an established market value that's not just derived just solely from speculation of the digital asset. So I really think that we're in a really good place. We're in a great place as an industry. We have the technology. We have the momentum right now, and I really think that this is going to actually help the entire industry iterate to the next leg up, where we're actually kind of cemented into real world adoption.
Fantastic, Dan. It's definitely that real world adoption that we're after at the moment, especially in the crypto space. We want to onboard more users, and doing it this way with the commodities out there, and just digitalizing it and improving their processes is what you guys are all about. So absolutely fantastic to have you on the episode again to talk through everything Palmyra and the Palm economy as well. Now, for anyone that's listening and watching, you can follow Dan and all the Palmyra accounts. I'll put links in the show notes for you. Again, also links to everything around the IDOs, the tokenomics, the Palm economy, everything there is also in the show notes for you. So please check out all those links and do your own research before getting into any of this as well. But again, Dan, thank you so much for joining me and talking through everything about Palmyra.
Thank you for having me, Peter. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, thanks. We had a great conversation, as always.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debating.